do that. And while everybody's coming on, I'm going to go ahead. Hi, Nancy. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. If you have any questions or concerns, please put it in the chat. Hi, Suzanne. Good to see you. Mindy, Joanne, Alana. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, as I just said, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. To the extent that you have any questions or concerns, put them in the chat. And we're going to have an opportunity to ask questions at the end. All right, so let me begin with an introduction, and then we'll get right into it. So this evening, we continue our Vitality University series, where we spotlighted the extraordinary work of members of our community who are in the wellness field. And beyond just being in the wellness field, they're leaders of thought and in their respective areas. So Juliet Herman is an intuitive holistic healing master practitioner. She's always been passionate about helping people, even when she was a child. I have the privilege of living in Juliet's building and seeing how kind and generous she is with those that are around her and surround her that need support. And her goal is to help others feel, as she says, seen, heard, and empathized. So tonight we're going to learn about reigniting our inner glow. That's part of the program agenda this evening. I'm Meredith Oppenheim, the founder and CEO of Vitality Society, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have in the chat while Juliet speaks. So the run of show this evening is Juliet will speak for roughly 45 minutes and share her perspective on this topic, and then we will have the last 15 minutes to answer your questions that you may have directed to Juliet. And I'm thrilled to say that Juliet has a gift for everybody who participated this evening, which she'll share at the end, so you can get to work with her one-on-one in a introductory exploratory conversation. So without further ado, Juliet, welcome to Vitality Society. We're thrilled to have you. I'm going to be driving the slides, and thank you for telling me when you're ready to advance and see those.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that everyone could see my face in, I believe it's the top right part of the screen, but wherever it is, that's all I want to make sure, because I don't want you to be speaking or watch slides the whole time. Okay, great.
So I'll just say that when you go on your options, at the top, there's like a view option, and you can see the one where you have the view of speaker, exactly. And then I'm going to share the presentation. So let me share that so everybody can test that while we do that simultaneously.
Thank you,
okay. So I'm going to have everybody practice, Juliet, so they can see. So you'll have an option to have at least 2 rectangles, and you'll see at least Juliet and her presentation. All right, Juliet, back to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So if you could pop over, in fact, you could skip the next slide because it was just a title page. You've already
let it go, flow. All right.
So Heal the Inner Glow, just so you all know, is both my company name, the name I named it, as well as the technique I use. But we'll go in a moment. So next slide, please. Thank you. So what we're going to take tonight is a healing journey. And really it's about showing you how powerful you are, because I've met a few of you, and to the ones I haven't met, the one thing I've always found is that every human being on this planet is way more powerful than you realize. So I just want to leave you with feeling that power inside. And when you get in touch with that power, that's really your inner glow right there. But again, I'll get into more of that later. And it's really a healing journey to discover who you really are, because who you think you are and who you really are tend to be very different. And this is the case for all of us. You're absolutely normal, and you are exactly as you are now. And basically you're going to learn techniques that really help you to self-soothe, that help you to regulate your system and calm yourself in the moment. I mean, I do what I do because it's my passion. It's not just what I do, it's who I am as a person. I've always been this way. But also, yes, I do believe I could help people, but I'm all about empowering people to help themselves, especially women. I specialize in women. I've helped men as well, but I specialize in women. to really help you empower yourself to participate in your own healing, in your own journey. I believe in that very strongly. And part of that is, even when I'm working with clients individually, everyone gets techniques to do on their own, because I really believe that we all need to just take care of ourselves as well. So we're going to do 7 different techniques tonight, little short ones, just so you have a healthy coping skills toolkit. So that's my gift to you. I really hope that helps. And at the end, I'll talk about an offer that I have for all of you. So next slide, please. Okay, oops, there's one right before this. Oh, I'm sorry, previous slide. Yes, stay there for a moment. I'm sorry, my fault. Previous slide, sorry. Okay, my fault. Okay, great. So I'm really into looking into the root cause of everything. So looking into the root. So let's look into the root of healing, the word healing. So the ancient Greek word for healing, what it meant is, it really is all about making yourself whole. That's really all it is in a nutshell. It's making it whole. And in the 17th century, the definition was expanded to making yourself whole with touch. And I love that, because it means that, number one, we can touch ourselves, we can heal ourselves, but also in the literal sense of touch, that we can use our hands to heal ourselves. And one of the techniques we're going to do later involves touch. So I'm really a proponent that we can heal ourselves. And there was a research study which was done on healing. And what it concluded is that that healing is not just about relieving the suffering, which, by the way, everyone wants to get rid of pain. I've never met anyone who didn't want to get rid of pain. We all want to relieve the suffering. However, that's not enough, because relieving the suffering can be momentary. It could be temporary. But what we really want to do is transcend the suffering. And that's what the research study concluded. And what does transcending mean? Well, it means to transform it, to go beyond the suffering. So that's really, really important and very key. I'm all about, again, getting to the roots, so you can not just put a Band-Aid on it or just cover the top layer, that you're really digging down deep and healing it, going beyond that suffering. The other thing it concluded is that that healing is a reinterpretation by the individual, so by yourself, of the phenomenon, so what your actual experience was like. So it is going back to that negative experience, that original painful experience, and how you personally, like the meaning that you attach to it. So 2 people can go through the same experience and attach a very different meaning. So really quick example, years ago, I was at a company and we were going through tremendous financial difficulty. And in an effort to stave off bankruptcy, they terminated more than 50% of the company. So it was a large scale termination. And I was caught up in that because they eliminated entire divisions, entire departments, positions, etc. And myself and my friend, same scenario, same situation, same day, same moment, a shock to all of us. There was no information. We came into work that day. They called us into an office and en masse said, here you go, here's your severance. This is what's happening. Now, was it a shock to the system? Of course it was. Emotionally, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm out of a job. What am I going to do? But I did get over it pretty quickly because I didn't take it personally. I mean, it's painful, don't get me wrong, but it was a minor pain. My friend, on the other hand, it literally really, really impacted her. It made her crumble such that she just went into her shell. I spoke to her over the next 2 days, and then she just cut off ties with humanity, essentially. I mean, it was really sad. She was sick the entire night, physically ill from worry. And then emotionally, she was really distraught from this. So this situation really destroyed her temporarily. She was in such deep pain. So again, the exact same experience happening at the exact same time to 2 different people, and we attach different meanings to it. So I want to really leave you with that very important thought. It is not so much the experience that we go through, it is the meaning that we attach to the experience. Okay, now I'm ready for the next slide. Thank you, Meredith. Okay, so neuroplasticity. I love neuroplasticity because what is it? Well, I wrote the ability to change and adapt. So let's go back to the definition of the word, the root neuro and plasticity. Neuro refers to the nerves, but in this case, I'm really emphasizing the neural pathways. So if you look at this slide, if you look at the image here, you can see all those intricate pathways in this mosaic. And that's what neuro refers to, the pathways in the brain. That's what I'm referring to. And plasticity, if we think of plastic, not hard plastic, but let's think of soft plastic. It's very malleable, it's moldable and shapeable. And that is the original definition of the word plasticity. So if you put that together, neuroplasticity is the ability to shape and mold the brain. So it's all about when we think thoughts, when we have beliefs, it impacts our brain. And over time, these beliefs and these thoughts, they lay down these pathways in our brain and literally affect us physically in addition to emotionally. Because the mind influences the body. The mind and body are connected. Again, I'll get into that in detail in a few minutes. The mind and body are connected. And so the mind influences the body, and then the body sends pain signals to the mind. So really what's happening is that we want to make sure that we are sending healthy messages to our brain. But if we are trapped in these old beliefs, if we're trapped, and I'm emphasizing the word trapped, if we're trapped in these old thoughts, then our brain is laying down very, very unhealthy neural pathways. So I'm going to take out the word neural, very unhealthy pathways. So how can we change this? Well, because every human being on this planet has the ability to change their brain. Every single human being. It is not magic, folks. It is how we are. So the way we rewire our brain, which is changing and adapting it, is by creating new beliefs. And again, we're going to do an exercise in a few minutes for that. When we create new beliefs, it then in turn creates new thoughts. These new thoughts create new behaviors, and the behaviors, hopefully the goal is to create new actions. And all of this works to create new pathways in the brain. So essentially what the brain is it's our processing unit. Our brain gives us the ability to learn. And as we learn, we genuinely, physically, this is scientifically proven, we genuinely change our brain. So that's really important for all of you to know and hopefully understand. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. I will cover this at the end. I want to give you a little bit of science because I'm really a big believer in learning. But if I'm going a little too into the depths, please let me know and I'll stop. So basically your mind's job is to keep you alive. But what is your job? So your job is to communicate better with the mind. And this is really key because as we learn to dialogue better with our mind, then we are rewarded. We are calmer. We're able to create a new narrative, the narrative being our story, the story we tell us, to shift from these unhealthy messages that are keeping us stuck, that are keeping us repeating patterns and unhealthy behaviors. So by dialoguing better, we can shift all of this. I'm going to give you a really simple example. We all have from time to time said, and probably will say again, I don't have enough time. There isn't enough time in the day for me to do everything. Well, what if we shifted that? You may be running out of time that day, but what if we shifted that from I don't have enough time to I am choosing to spend time with things and areas that are most important to me. Now notice how that feels and lands in your body and lands in you. That's really important. There's such a difference in those harsh words of I don't, which is very negative. I don't have enough time to, I am choosing. Now, even when I say that, it feels better. And, if you experiment with those wording, you'll feel better. So remember, that's really important to know. We always have a choice. And I want to emphasize, there are times when we're given two choices. All of our options are not great, but there's always one choice that's better. And that one choice, folks, may only be 10% better. And even at times, it may only be 1% better. But that 1% is worth it, because that 1% is a healthier choice to make. So remember that you always have a healthier choice. And when you choose to dialogue better with your mind, you will notice a difference. That is when you're able to get unstuck. That is when you're able to shift patterns. So now I'd like you to go to the next slide, Meredith. Thank you. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink for a moment. Sorry, I swallowed the wrong way. I apologize. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, so with this one, we're going to jump into an exercise because I don't want to give away what this is showing you, but this is proving a point. So I'm going to invite everyone to close your eyes. And now to some of you, if that is uncomfortable to close your eyes, you don't have to. I just find closing our eyes helps to visualize a little bit better. But again, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You have a choice. So listen to your instincts and do what feels right to you, my friends. Okay. So I'd like you to imagine, so all you have to do right now is just listen to my words. That's it. And see what comes up in your mind. Don't judge it. Just let it happen. I'd like you to imagine that you have in your left hand a lemon. It's a heavy lemon because it's very, very juicy. And now I want you to take that lemon. No one can see you, so feel free to do what you want. Take that lemon and lift it up close enough so you could smell it. You may want to put it underneath your nose. You may want to put it near your nose, whatever you want to do. And as you're holding it in your hand, feel the weight of that lemon. Is it a little bit heavy? Are your fingers grasping the lemon? Is it slippery? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it room temperature? And as you hold that lemon, is it waxy? And as you lift it to your nose, what does it smell like? Does it smell fresh? Does it smell sour? And as you do that, maybe your mind is starting to salivate a little bit because you can remember what it tastes like to taste a lemon. Or maybe you're curious. And so go ahead and take a bite. You don't have to swallow it. Just sink your teeth into it, even if it's just the top two front teeth. Just sink your teeth into the lemon. Does it sting? Can you feel the acidity as it touches your teeth? If your teeth are very sensitive, you may feel it even more. As it hits your gums, is it stinging a little bit? But you know what? You're curious. You want to go further. So go ahead and take a bite. And again, you don't have to swallow. Just hold it in your mouth. And now feel what that's like on your tongue. Is it stinging? Is it juicy? Do you feel a little bit of juice coming out the corner of your mouth? Do you want to take your right hand up and just wipe a little bit of that juice off? And maybe you can smell it even more. Maybe it was so juicy that juice hit the tip of your nose. Maybe it's a little bit cold because it was in the refrigerator, or maybe you even put it in the freezer. So maybe it's really refreshing if you're feeling a little warm. And now I want you to take that piece out. Maybe you want to swallow it. And if you don't want to swallow it, you can imagine there's a napkin or even your hand, and you could spit it out in your hand. That's okay. Again, none of us are watching you. But you can still feel it in your mouth because this lemon, let's pretend that it's very sour. So you can still feel that sourness in your mouth, and it's making you salivate even more. And now as you're salivating, I want you to put that lemon down, put it down on the table, and slowly come back into your body. Very gently and slowly bring yourself back into the room. And as you bring yourself back into the room, I'd like you to write in the chat anything that you are feeling, anything that you experienced. Anything that you experienced. I'd love to hear about it. You don't have to, but feel free. Okay. And thank you, Harriet, about resilience. You're absolutely right. I completely agree with you. So thank you very much. And thank you, Marvin, for having full attention and that it was refreshing. I really appreciate that. That's wonderful. So really, what was that all about? So I presume that most of you could feel that. And again, if you can't, please don't judge yourself. It's okay. I wanted to keep that really short. But what that really was proving is that your mind, I'm just going to read this really quickly. So yes, you love lemons. Thank you very much. It was sour, but good, wonderful. And you felt it clearly, good. And again, I really want to emphasize whatever you experience with any of these exercises, I'm doing them really quickly. Normally I like to do them longer. So for some of us, it takes a little longer to get into that imagination state. Please don't judge yourself. That's okay. We can speak privately afterwards on another call, and we can do it much longer. I'm more than willing to do that with you. So again, please let go of all judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. And yes, the lemon is a beautiful color. Yes, Anita, I love it too. I'm not good at painting, but yes, that's wonderful. So really what this is about the power of our minds. Because remember, this whole thing is about power. Giving back your personal power, taking back your story, taking back your narrative, writing a new healthy story. And so the mind doesn't know the difference between real and imaginary. It doesn't know when you're telling it the truth or you're telling it a lie. So really what tonight is all about is about dialoguing better with your mind. Because when you dialogue better, you can take that imagined state, what you want, that desired state, whatever it is, and you can actually tell your mind, this is how I'm feeling. So that's really what this was all about. And I wanted to do this without telling you because you're all very intelligent. And if I told you that, you probably would have played some mind tricks and prevented the exercise from revealing what the purpose was. So thank you all. And really what it is, the real and imaginary, what that ties into is with our beliefs, with our experiences. The mind cannot tell when you are actually reliving an experience or just reimagining it. And every technique I use, everything I do is all about reimagining. It's very safe. It's not reliving. And that's how you get through, and that's how you create a new narrative, a new story. So keeping it on this slide, I mentioned earlier there was a mind-body connection, and the mind and body are absolutely, positively, 100% connected. Again, this is scientifically proven, but there's a really simple way to understand this. So think about, when you get a headache. So suddenly you feel, or let's take it back a step. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me take it back a step. Let's say you start to feel stressed. And you start to feel stressed. Where do we tend to feel stressed? Well, the two most common areas are our hearts. Maybe your heart's starting to race a bit, and our stomachs. Maybe you feel a little bit queasy. You get those butterflies, that anxiety kind of bubbles up in your stomach. Those are areas where you start to feel it. And so truly, that physical pain then manifests as a emotion, which manifests as a feeling in your body. So it started off with the nervousness, and then we felt it throughout our body. So the mind influences the body, and the body influences the mind, and it's this continuous loop. So that was really important because if the story you're telling yourself is that of emotional pain, that you're feeling emotionally distressed, well, then eventually you're going to feel it in your body. And if you ignore your emotions, if you suppress those emotions, You may be suppressing them on the surface, but it's going to impact you in many different ways. And I know Harriet is the expert in medicine. I am not. So I'm sure she talked to you about that. But, you know, there are ways that these emotions can become very toxic. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But it can really do serious damage to you. But again, I don't want to go any further into that. But I also believe that you need to feel in order to heal. And so if you are suppressing your emotions, if you are suppressing your feelings, then again, you can just touch to the surface and put a Band-Aid on it, but you're not fully going to heal. Because when you're healing, you're making yourself whole. And there's a great quote by Henry Maudsley, and I love this, Mansley, excuse me. It's the feeling that cannot find its expression in tears will cause other organs to weep. So essentially what that is saying is if you suppress those emotions, if you suppress the tears in this case, then the other organs will react from that. So now I'd like to do just another really quick. You'll notice that my exercises are really quick tonight because I want to just to show you how powerful you are. So I want you to imagine, you don't need to shut your eyes. I want you to imagine something that makes you happy, whatever that may be. Maybe it is a sunny day. Maybe it is your grandchild. Maybe it is your child. Maybe it is your puppy. Maybe it's your cat. Maybe it is just you helped someone and that made you feel really good. Whatever it is, just something small that makes you happy. And just bring that into your body and notice the sensations that you have in your body. Where are you feeling it? What are you thinking? Is it causing you to smile? Maybe you're smiling inside. And know that that's really the extent of that exercise because you can recreate this at any time. So for me, sunshine always makes me happy. I mean, really, really does. So no matter how I'm feeling, if I go outside for a moment, I get really, really happy. And so for me, that's really quick. I can recreate that at any time. And when I say recreate, I don't want you to pressure yourself. If you can recreate that for even a minute and give yourself 1 minute, just 1 minute, 60 seconds of relief, that does wonders for your system. Because every minute that you give is giving you that much more relief. So remember, it's really about the cumulative effect. Focus on the baby steps instead of the big step, because the big step can be very scary. Focus on all those little bits that you're doing to make an impact. So now let's jump into another exercise. Again, this is super duper easy. I just want you to close your eyes for a moment. Again, if this is comfortable for you to close your eyes, if it's not, please don't. You'll still feel the effect. And I want you to take your left hand and put it on your heart and the right hand on your stomach, in particular, your lower abdomen. So right below your belly button. Maybe your thumb is touching your belly button, and that's okay, folks. And now as you're doing this, I want you to think of a minor stress. Again, I'm going to emphasize this. Very, very minor, because I don't want to leave you stressed. So very, very minor. What I call a fender bender, a little emotional fender bender. And so maybe it's a minor stress, a minor frustration, something that irks you a little bit, makes your hair stand on end a little bit, just really, really minor. And feel it in your body and identify where you feel it. It's really common to feel it in your heart and your stomach, but you may feel it in your arms. Maybe you're feeling tension in your body. Maybe you're feeling it creeping up on you. Maybe you're feeling it in your neck, your shoulders, your back, your head. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of an ache in your head, your temples, maybe a little throbbing sensation, just really small. Or maybe you feel a little bit of anger rising up in your chest, frustration, oh, if only, one of those feelings. And as you feel that, just know that it's very easy for all of us to get triggered. by these really minor things throughout the day. It happens to everyone, even happy people. No one is happy all the time. I tend to be happy, but I'm not happy all the time. I get triggered. We all do. It's normal. You're normal. And you need to remind yourself that you're safe and you have the power to change and reset your system at any time, in any moment. And really, it's about switching off your mind and resetting. And so while your eyes are closed, keeping your hands on your heart and your stomach, we're going to do this really simple technique that everyone can do. We're just going to do box breathing. Now, if you're uncomfortable with box, so think of a box, I just want you to do what you're comfortable doing. I like using the count of 4, and I like doing a box, but not everyone does. If all you're comfortable doing is doing 2 breaths, then please listen to your instincts and do what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable holding your breath, then don't hold it, and just breathe on your own. So just listen to me and follow along and do whatever makes you comfortable. Listen to your instincts, they're very wise. So I want you to inhale to the count of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it. And now exhale and hold it to the count of 4. Again, if you're not comfortable holding it, don't hold it, just start exhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And all together now, inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold it empty to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the box. We're going to do it one more time. Hold it to the count of 4. Inhale to the count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it empty to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now slowly come back into your body. You can take your left hand off your chest, your right hand off your stomach, and come back into the room and open your eyes on your own time. And I'd love to hear your experience. Those were actually 2 separate exercises. I just wanted to do them together. So you can do the box breathing or just regular breathing whenever you want, just to calm down in the moment. You can also do the first exercise with the hand on the stomach and the heart whenever you want, and just visualize yourself calming down. There's also another technique. We're not going to do it, but it's really easy to explain. Simple. You can do this when you're walking. You know, sometimes when you're walking and you can feel, you almost fell asleep. I love that, Marvin. Yes, I tend to put people to sleep a lot. It's very common. So I'm glad. Falling asleep means that your system was really calming down. And thank you, Nancy. I'm glad to hear that it felt very calming. And thank you, Harriet and Sharon. I love that you were feeling relaxed. That's wonderful. So really, this next technique is for all of us to use. And I implore all of you to use it. And literally, I use it all the time when I'm walking down the street. So I live in New York City, and it's very busy and loud and noisy here, if you think of Broadway. And sometimes you walk by someone and you could just feel their energy. And they're really tense, or they start screaming, or you hear a horn honking, or you almost get hit by a car, bus, whatever it is. Or you start just thinking of your worries, your things to do list. In that moment, just pause for a moment. You don't even have to stop walking. You could just continue walking or driving or whatever you're doing. And just focus on your breath for a moment. This is even safe to do while you're driving, I promise. And focus on your breath and think, Okay, just follow the path of that breath as you exhale and inhale. Do it at least to the count of 3 and do at least 3 rounds of that. And you'll notice, again, I'm a really big believer in doing things for even a minute at a time, that you'll calm down really quickly. I promise you that works for everyone. It may take you way more than 3 breaths. It may take you 10 breaths. You may even need to stop for a moment, even if you're walking, and just calm down, but it really, really helps. And if you're home or you're somewhere you're comfortable, if you put your hand on your chest and your stomach, that helps too, because you actually calm down because you can feel your heart slowing pace. You can feel your stomach slowing pace. So yes, breathe. Yes, Marvin, absolutely. You can breathe in and out through your nose. You can breathe in through your nose, out through your stomach, whatever, or out through your mouth, excuse me. Whatever feels most comfortable to you. Just listen to your instincts, because you are driving the bus, so to speak. So your instincts are very powerful. So thank you for all those questions and comments. I appreciate it. So now, Meredith, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, great. So we already talked about the mind-body connection. Let's go on to one more slide. Thank you, Meredith. So now it's really the conscious versus the subconscious. So what is the conscious? Well, the conscious is our thinking mind. And the conscious is what we all are very aware of, literally aware of. It's what we rely on, which is really incredible. So the conscious is where our logic is. It's where our rational thinking is. It's all the thinking processes. It's our decision making. And it's also where our judgment is. And that's really important, because the conscious mind is very rigid, because remember, it's all about our judgment. But what's really fascinating with our conscious is it only has the capability to process 40 bits per second. That's nothing. It's very little information. So really, the conscious is only responsible for 5% of our thoughts, our beliefs. So why are we relying on something that is 5%? So really, we need to do a deep dive, which is the scuba diver here. We need to do a deep dive to really look at our subconscious if we want to heal ourselves, because that is where our magic, our personal power lies. The subconscious is in charge. It's really the CPU, our central processing unit. That is really in charge of our imagination, in charge of our instincts. It's in charge of our thoughts, our beliefs, of our habits, our learning. So if we want to change any of that, we need to look to our subconscious. And guess what else? It processes 40 million bits per second. So 95% of our processes occur in the subconscious. So again, that's what we need. But how do we access it? It's not in our conscious awareness. Well, those are the techniques that we're going to work on, is how to access the subconscious, because that's really where the magic lies. That's how we can change our thoughts and beliefs. And that's how we can choose healthier habits. Because remember, we're not learning in our conscious mind. That's all old. That's all like old information. We're not learning anything. The learning is in the subconscious. So really, there's a great rule of the mind. And the rule of the mind is, in a battle between emotion lies in the subconscious, and the logic, which lies in the conscious, emotion wins every time. And if you want proof of that, even if you are a logical person, even if you rely on your conscious like we do, know that when you suddenly get an emotion, which triggers a feeling, so it suddenly triggers a feeling in your body, and you cannot avoid that. If you feel stressed, it doesn't matter what your logic is saying. You are going to dive very deep into that stress, and suddenly the stress will win out, and the stress will rule whatever you are thinking, because your beliefs control your thoughts. Your thoughts control your emotions. Your emotions control your actions or inactions in this case. And we're going to go into that in depth in a moment. Okay, so next slide, please. Thank you. So you can see it's a cat seeing the reflection of a lion, because you make your beliefs and then your beliefs make you. So do you think that you are a lion? And this is just a cute little kitten. Are you the cowardly lion or are you the courageous lion? So that's really what your beliefs are all about. But actually our beliefs are from when we were young children. Our beliefs are formed when we are 5 to 7 years old. And they are influenced by our environment, by our caretakers, by our experiences. And we have what's called negativity bias. And what the negativity bias is that in order to survive, when we left the cave, because by the way, let me take it back a step. When our survival brain is there to keep us alive. That is our mind's job, keep us alive. And it was created back in prehistoric times so that when we left the cave, we were warned if there was a predator around. We wanted to be well aware of that. So yes, it's great to walk outside in prehistoric times and see the sunshine, sure, of course. But that didn't protect them. That didn't keep them alive. What kept them alive was that negativity bias, noticing when there was a predator around, noticing when there was a harmful experience happening. And unfortunately, even though we've evolved all this time, we still have those beliefs. We still have that survival brain. So we have that negativity bias, which has lasted with us all this time. So what the negativity bias says is that our negative experiences are like Velcro. The negative experiences stay with us, and the positive experiences, unfortunately, they're like Teflon and they leave us. So it doesn't mean that we don't remember them, but we really remember those negative experiences, because that is really what we need to shift out of. We need to figure out a way to change those, to change that to healthier, more positive thoughts and feelings. And I'll go over that in a minute. So there's a great rule that if you think back, let me give you an example. When you were a child, let's say that you were bullied, or maybe you were treated poorly and you were treated as less than, you were treated as inferior. Perhaps you had an older sibling, and your older sibling was the angel in the family, got everything. Or maybe you went to school, and at school, you were a bit smaller than the other kids, and so you were picked on. And so suddenly, or maybe your caretakers or someone who had great influence in your life treated you really poorly, and they were older than you. So your survival brain said, I got this. I'm going to keep you alive. Because remember, that's its job. So I'm going to make you big. And I'm going to make you so big that no one can ever pick on you again. And then you went throughout childhood and you grew up. And as an adult, you carried extra weight. And you weren't happy about this extra weight. And because of this extra weight, from time to time, you would go on a diet and you would shift it. Maybe you would get rid of some of that weight. But did you ever notice that for most of us, it always comes back? And the reason is because your survival brain, that belief, that outdated belief that's in your mind, it's embedded in your mind, tells you that in order to survive, you need to keep big. You need to keep this weight on. So that's actually your mind doing its job. It's really not doing anything bad, but it is harming you. And the goal is now to adapt healthier beliefs, to get rid of this outdated belief, because you're an adult. You don't need to be big to survive. You know how to survive. You don't need that. So really, everyone wants to get rid of pain. Everyone I've ever met wants to get rid of pain. But we're also all resistant to change. And when we're resistant to change, we keep those old beliefs. And what do those old beliefs do? We keep repeating these unhealthy patterns, these unhealthy experiences, these unhealthy behaviors, because we can't get out of it. So we're stuck in this virtually infinite loop of repeating this pain and causing ourselves more and more pain. So really, emotional and physical pain is a wake-up call. It is beautiful. It's how we've been designed to scream at us. Because when you're experiencing physical pain, you cannot ignore it. If something hurts, if your back starts aching, your neck starts aching, maybe you wake up stiff, you cannot ignore that. You cannot. I have a high threshold to pain and I can't ignore that. Let's say emotionally you're stressed, you can't stop crying, whatever it may be, you cannot ignore that because your mind is, because you are designed to wake up. It's a wake-up call that it is time to shift beyond that. And the way you shift is by breaking through that resistance. But that resistance is something, because that belief is all you've ever known. So how do you adapt a healthier belief? So the reason you have the resistance is because here's another great rule of the mind. The mind loves what is familiar and rejects and avoids what's unfamiliar. So what's familiar to you is being big. What is unfamiliar with you is, thank you, is being a healthier weight. So what you want to do is to shift that which is familiar and adapt something that's unfamiliar, and you want to reverse them. So suddenly you want to make having a healthier body familiar. So that's really, really important to you. And then who you think you are and who you really are tend to be very, very different. So it's really about discovering who you really are. So you need to let go of these outdated, these limiting beliefs, and really let go of other people's expectations of you. And you may have generational beliefs that are passed down. A really common generational belief is that you don't have enough money. You know, we've all heard the expression, money doesn't grow on trees. And maybe your relatives and your ancestors all had money issues. And because of those money issues, you believe that you could never have enough money. And even if you're extremely wealthy, you could never have enough money because that was what was handed down to you. So again, even those generational beliefs become ingrained in us. So really what you want to do is draw a picture and to go outside of the lines of what you've been handed or what you believe. Maybe now it's time to break free of that and to really discover what resonates with you now, what your instincts are. Listen to you. Is being abundant a new belief to you? Well, sure, I bet it is. So then you have 60 to 90,000 thoughts per day. So let's think, and you can't hold them all. Let's think of a box of toothpicks. If you took those toothpicks and you tried to pour it into one hand, you could not. And those toothpicks represent thoughts. You couldn't hold all of them, they'd fall to the floor. And really, that's what you're doing with all these thoughts. But out of those 60 to 90,000 thoughts per day, approximately 95% of those are the same thoughts day in and day out, which is amazing. So if you think of a song, you know, when a song gets stuck in your head, it's the same thing. We are on this infinite loop for 95% of our thoughts. And of those 95%, 80% of those habitual negative thoughts, again, it has to do with that negativity bias, keeping us safe. So it's not about resisting these negative thoughts, because if we try to resist it, what you focus on expands. Have you ever noticed that? If you keep focusing on, I feel stressed, I feel stressed, I feel stressed, you feel more stressed. So if you are resisting the thought, it's going to expand, expand, expand. So instead, what you want to do is observe. Become more aware of that thought. And as you become more aware of that thought, just acknowledge it. Just say, I feel stressed. That's okay. Just acknowledge it. And then suddenly you're allowing yourself to choose a healthier thought. And that will do wonders, even something as small and trivial as that. And so really embrace the positive thoughts and allow them to come into your experience. And this is really important. And this applies to both women and men, but in particular with women, because we are judged by our physical appearance. And as we get older, we judge ourselves even harsher. So, we have crow's feet, we have these wrinkles, these lines, these nasal labial folds, especially when we smile. You'll see them, they're really pronounced. Maybe you have this, I'm going to show you mine, I don't really care. The skin under your eyes under your arms becomes loose. Maybe you have cellulite, sagging skin, a tummy, that menopausal middle, or maybe a big tummy if you're a man. Whatever it is, your body starts to shift. And we judge ourselves so harshly. Again, I want to emphasize, especially as we get older. And society then judges us even harsher and tells us that we're not attractive. But that is so not true. That is absolutely not true. And the way we take back the power from those thoughts is that suddenly we embrace what I call our fabulous flaws. So just really quickly, the other day I was cleaning and I was on just a really teeny little step ladder in front of my mirror as I was cleaning my mirror. And I noticed the cellulite on the back of my, the area in between your thighs and your tush. And I literally, for the first time in my life, started to smile and laugh. And the reason is suddenly I thought, oh my gosh, you're just a dimple. Aren't you adorable? And I associated it with my face, which is really a very funny thought. It's like tush face, but anyway. So, something as silly as that. And I just couldn't stop laughing because it was really funny. And I felt so light about it. And I really loved my cellulite for the first time in my life. I embraced my cellulite and I really loved it. So I invite you to do that too, whatever it may be. Maybe you have bags under your eyes. I know I do, but when I smile, they're even more pronounced. But I love that because that means I'm smiling. That means I'm happy. So I invite you to do that. So really, just a quick exercise, think of one thing, just one thing that you like about yourself. It could be physical. Maybe it is that you have these gorgeous sparkling eyes. Maybe your ears are so stunning and they look great with any jewelry around it. Maybe your neck is big and strong. Maybe you have strong biceps, or maybe you're just able to carry a lot. Or maybe it is the fact that you are such a compassionate, loving person that everyone who encounters you feels your love, feels your compassion. So really just praise yourself for one moment. So we're just going to take a few, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and just praise yourself. And you're all muted, so you can say it out loud if you want, or you can say it to yourself. Yes, I love my smiling eyes. Thank you, Nancy. That's beautiful. Just praise yourself and praise the heck out of yourself. This is your time to boast. So just really boast. I'm going to tell you, I love my smile. I do a full body smile. I can really feel it everywhere. I'm a compassionate person, whatever it may be. And then just really feel, thank you. I love that. You have good skin, Harriet. Thank you. Yes. Just really feel what it's like to give yourself that praise and to accept your fabulous flaws. Okay, wonderful. And feel free to put that in the chat while Meredith is advancing to the next slide. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to go over this super fast. So there are 5 brain waves, but the 5th one is something that science doesn't know a lot about. So I'm just going to cover the 4 of them. And thank you. I love that, Tabby, that you have beautiful thick hair. Absolutely. So the 4 main brain waves, let's start. We're going to go from the fastest to the slowest. The first brain wave is beta, and that's alert. That's right now. All of you are listening. We're all in beta. Every one of us is in beta right now. And then the next one, slightly slower, is alpha. Again, we all experience all of these states, by the way, but alpha is that relaxed state. And the easiest way to explain alpha is, you know, when you're driving and suddenly you just kind of zone out. And let's say you're on a highway and suddenly you hear that rumble because you started to nod off for a minute. It happens to all of us. It doesn't mean you're a bad driver. It's just normal. We're feeling tired. So you were in that alpha mode. And when you're in that mode, when you hit that shoulder of the road, the reason that happens is it's such a common phenomenon, and it suddenly wakes you up and you go back into beta. So that's what the alpha state is. And theta state, again, we all have this when we're dreaming. Also, if you meditate, you can get into, yes, thank you, Ivy. If you meditate, you can get into theta state again on your own. So that's a beautiful way to get into theta. It's that really relaxed, imaginary state. It's a wonderful state to be in. So rapid REM is also that state. And then there's delta. Now, delta is very slow. It's the slowest state. And that state is beneficial to everyone. That is when we do the deepest repair work. Now, I will tell you, the delta state is something that very few people can access on their own. I've been meditating for decades. I can actually access delta state. It doesn't make me better. It just means I've been practicing for a long time, but not everyone can. Monks can get into delta, by the way. But not everyone can. Please don't judge yourself. It's not a competition. But so this is the state that is most easy to access with help. Whoever you go to help you to access this state, you know, I can help people, other people can help you as well. And that's what delta is about. That's where that major repair work comes from. So next slide, please, Meredith. Okay, great, thank you. So what you can see is the energy emanating from the hands. And really, we're gonna do a much longer demonstration now because I want you to see this. But before we do that demonstration, I just wanna tell you, oops, sorry, I started to do it already. I'll show you that in a moment. What's beautiful about the body is a conductor of electricity. We have electrical currents running through our system. Every one of us does. It's really powerful. And I'm going to show you that how we conduct electricity. So what is this? This is a real, genuine science demonstration tool. And it's an energy stick. And what it's used is to demonstrate how we conduct electricity. Now I'm going to show you how we conduct electricity. If I put paper at the end of this, so I'm completing a circuit, nothing happens, nothing. Okay, so now I'm going to take my hand. I've got one hand here, putting the other hand, I'm completing the circuit. Here's the magic. Well, I called it magic, but it really isn't magic. It's just who we are, and it's how this is demonstrated. So you can see you can hear the noise and you can see it light up. Okay, that was long enough. I think everyone saw that. So really that is just proving that we are conductors of electricity and that these electrical currents are going through us. Now, there are three main groups of techniques. And the first group is drug therapy. Now, again, I am not trained in medicine at all, so I'm not going to talk about it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's when we use medication to help ourselves. Certainly prescribed medication, I mean. And then the second type of therapy, which again, everyone's heard of, is called talk therapy. And that would be psychotherapy. And again, it's traditional therapy, it is Freudian, it is psychotherapy. That's another one. Now, the third category is called psychosensory therapy. And what is psychosensory therapy? Psycho, if you think of psycho, so it takes the beauty of talk therapy with some of the techniques, and it uses the senses. And within that category, there are different ones. Now, a couple of them you will have heard of. There's the inner psychosensory techniques. That would be meditation. That's all inward. The other one would be yoga. And then there are a few others, but those are the two main ones. But then what we're all going to do right now is one of my favorite techniques that is very effective and efficient. And it's called havening, like the word here. And what is havening? Havening is all about, if you take the word haven, it means to create it's safety. It's that safe haven that we all want. So when we're havening, we're creating a safe haven to release painful and negative experiences or even stressful thoughts throughout the day. That's what havening is all about. And you all have the power to do this. And how do you have that power? Because you have hands. And in your hands, your fingertips, your hands are these beautiful conductors of electricity. They're really, really powerful. So when we touch ourselves, we are then generating these beautiful currents that is coursing all this electricity throughout our body. And we use techniques at the same time, healthy distractions, not numbing, like drinking or shopping or whatever that is, watching TV, not those techniques. These are healthy distractions that I do with clients to really create this safe haven and release those feelings. So now you can all keep your eyes open for a moment. And let's do the first technique because I want you to see this. There are 3 techniques, but we only have time to do 2 of them right now. The first technique is called hand washing. So I want you to just look at my hands, and then you can do this. Basically you're just washing your hands. You don't have to do it vigorously. You want to do this very slowly. You can do it this way. You can do it that way. Just really wash your hands. Sorry, I didn't mean to block my face, but I wanted to show you all. So just wash your hands and keep going. And notice the sensation. Are you starting to generate heat in your hands? Is one hand feeling warmer than another? As you generate that heat, are you starting to feel it in other parts of your body? And then think about it. Are you feeling calm as you're doing this? Are you feeling any other sensations? Are you thinking anything? What's arising in your mind? What is arising in your body? And as you're doing that, just notice how you're feeling. And let's do this for 1 more minute. Notice how you're feeling in your mind and your body. Just continue washing your hands and observing. That's all you're doing is observing, listening to my voice. Is my voice having an impact on you as you're rubbing, as you're washing your hands, as you're touching your hands? And now I want you to stop for a minute. You can stop and notice. Did you shift? We did that for a really short time, but you probably did have even a teeny little shift. Do you feel a little bit different now than when we started? Maybe you were curious and really thinking. Maybe your thinking is calmer now. And put that in the chat for a moment. If you experienced anything. You don't have to, everything's optional here. I'm very low key. Okay, great. So now let's go on to the next exercise. And with this one, oh no, keep it on that slide, Meredith. So with this one, we're going to do this one, and this one's going to be about 5 minutes. We're going to do a few more minutes. And then we're almost done, I promise. With this one, what we're doing is I want you to just watch me for a moment. And this one, I would like you to close your eyes in a moment, but watch me. And I'm going to exaggerate the motion so you can see it. So you're going to take your hands. This is called the havening hug. And you're going to take, and I want you to take the entire hand, not just your fingertips. So the entire hand, if you can see, I'm using my whole palm. And you're going to rub, you're going to keep your arms down, but I'm just showing you to exaggerate and show you the motion. You're going to touch from the tops of your shoulders. You're going to go down to your elbows. And remember, this is very slow and gentle, but really feel it. You're gently stroking yourself with the whole palm from the tops of your shoulders to your elbows, slowly. Okay, great. And again, you're going to keep your hands down. You don't need to do this in an exaggerated fashion. That was for you. If you have a table in front of you, you can rest your arms on that table. You can rest your arms on your legs, whatever's comfortable for you, on a cushion. But I want you to continue doing this. And again, if you're comfortable, please close your eyes. Only if you're comfortable. Close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to continue stroking from the tops of your shoulders down to your elbows and scan the day. And as you're scanning the day, just think about everything that's happened to you today and scan your body. What are you thinking? What are you feeling in your mind and your body? What is arising in your mind and your body right now in this moment? And just take notice of that. Just notice it. All you have to do, folks, is just notice that. And as you're noticing that, I want you to let go of any tension in your body, any bad memories that you have, any bad thoughts. Let it all go. And as you're letting it go, I want you to imagine that you are in paradise, whatever that paradise is. And let's put you underneath a beautiful blue waterfall. And again, you're in your paradise, wherever that is. Maybe paradise is your shower, whatever your paradise is. And I want you to imagine that that water, that it's a little bit cool, but it's mostly, it's cool mixed with warm. Let it enter your body as it cascades over your head. Let it pour into your body. It's like taking a cleansing shower, a cleansing bath. And let it come down through your body. As it comes down through your body, entering your mind, entering your head, let all the tension, every moment of it, let it cascade and leave your body, going all the way down, down, down. Let it go down your eyes, releasing all tension. Let it go down your cheeks, releasing all tension to your jaw. Let it unlock. Let it go down your neck, your shoulders, all relaxing. Your back, releasing all that beautiful feeling, that warm water cleansing you completely, gently cascading down, feeling that glow coming inside you as you relax further and further, your chest, releasing all that tension. If your heart's racing, let it just go. Let it go down to your stomach, the top of your stomach, your belly button, your lower abs, releasing more and more. Let it completely flop. If you're holding in your stomach, let it flop to the side. Let it out. Let it all out. As it goes down, travels down your body, your legs, let your legs flop to the sides. No need to hold them. Let it go down your knees. Let it go down your shins, your calves, releasing all that tension. Let it go down your ankles. Let it go down the tops of your feet, soles of your feet, feeling that beautiful, cool, warm water mixture, carrying away any tension in your body, in your mind. And then you're handing it down to the ground firmly. Just let it go out. If you believe in Mother Earth, you're handing it down to the earth below you. Let it go down. And now I want you to slowly notice how your body's feeling. How's your mind feeling? And slowly come back into your body and come back into the room. And if you want, you can stop havening. And then I want you to notice how you're feeling. What are you thinking? How are you feeling? And write in the chat if you're feeling any difference between when we started. We only did this for a couple of minutes. Any difference between when we started to when we ended? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can just write one word, whatever you want. Love to hear how you're feeling. So what that is it's a very highly efficient and effective technique. And with havening, you're using your hands to transmute the reaction and transform. And so let's move on to the next slide. We're going to wrap up in a moment. So what this is it's really healing the inner glow. So what is healing the inner glow? That is my proprietary method to really just get in touch with your inner light, your life force, that part inside of you. And to really magnify that and to heal yourself. And so what I use is these hybrid techniques that combine multiple techniques at once. And thank you, Judy. I'm glad you feel peaceful. So it's these multiple techniques at once. And I combine that with my instincts and my gifts to really create an inner user manual that is customized to each client. So every client, I'm glad, Glass, you feel more relaxed. So every client has a unique experience and has techniques that are customized to them. And that's really what that does. And all my clients are left feeling more energized with these powerful techniques to really do these deep transformations and to really get in touch with who they really are. And I'm glad, Phyllis, you feel relaxed and happy. That's wonderful. And so really, I'm all about freeing you from those old beliefs, those limiting beliefs. I'm glad you feel loose, Beverly. Freeing you from those limiting beliefs and feeling stuck, repeating patterns, repeating these old behaviors, and everything that is making you, like keeping you in the past, because really life is lived in the present, not the past. We think it's in the past, but it's not. It's in the present. And it's also about transformation. So transforming, letting go of procrastination, perfectionism. A lot of us have that. I know I've had that. And unworthiness. It's very common to not feel that we're enough. But it's really transforming that, transcending that. Because remember at the very beginning, I talked about that your transformation is going beyond, it's transcending that. So now I want to wrap that up and just say the main takeaways are that we all have that power. We all have this gift. We all have the power to transform at any moment. And all of these little techniques that I've shown you are your way to take your power back. Because when we capitulate, when we surrender to those old beliefs, we are giving away our power. We no longer have to be in survival mode. Don't we all want to thrive? And the way we thrive is by using new techniques, using these new behaviors so that we are able to transcend and go beyond. And so I'm going to stop there because I want to leave time for questions for everyone. So I'm going to open up the floor to any questions you may have. So Meredith, you can go to the next slide. Thank
Perfect. Juliet, thank you so much. I realize we're about 15 minutes over, so I want to acknowledge that some people may have to leave, but I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide in the sense of Juliet has her email here. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. But what this is exactly is if you want to get in touch, Juliet, do you want to share what, if anybody wants to get in touch, what that would offer them?
Absolutely. So if anyone would like to get in touch, what I'm offering is a free 20-minute discovery call. It's not going to be a full-on session, but I always do a little technique. I always do a little something. And it's really for you to learn more and see how I can help you, how I can help you shift from where you are now to where you want to be, because we all want to shift the pain. And it's really about figuring out how can we get beyond, how can we live the life that we've always wanted to live? And In addition, I am offering a March Manifesting Challenge, excuse me. And that is starting in just a few days because February is almost over. It's sped by. And so for every single day in March, I'm going to do a 15-minute Facebook Live. So I hope you're all on Facebook. It's free to everyone who wants to join. And I am doing it at 12 p.m. every day. And I know I went a little long today, but I'm going to stick to 15 minutes, and I really will time myself and stick to 15 minutes. And so for everyone who wants to join, it's very powerful when you do it live, but if you can't make it, that's fine. I know I have people in Asia that want to join and they'll be asleep. So there's also going to be a recording, so you can feel free to watch that. But I'm going to do it in this private group, so you do need to join. And again, that's be 31 days of little techniques to really help you manifest the life that you've always wanted to get unstuck. The Facebook group, the Facebook page is Meredith is going to send everyone that afterwards. So
Yeah.
you can feel free to reach out to Meredith and she will make sure that you all have my email. I'm very, very easygoing. What you saw is really who I am. So you can feel free to reach out to me. It is Heal the Inner Glow is my Facebook page. So just the words Heal the Inner Glow, all one word. That is also my email, healtheinnerglow@gmail.com. So you can do that. It's also Juliet at healtheinnerglow.com. So lots of different ways to reach me. And the Facebook group, it's a whole bunch of numbers, but it's really the March Manifesting Challenge. So if you reach out to me on Facebook, I will gladly invite you all to join. You're all welcome to join. I'm really excited because it's only a few days away and I've got lots of great events planned, so we can really dive into techniques and you'll learn more.
Right.
So I don't know, Meredith.
Yes, I just want to mention, for those of you who are new to Vitality Society, we often get questions about how do I participate in other programs that we have. So I'm just going to share quickly our schedule for those of you who are less familiar with what we do. You can stay on and I can share that with you. But here are the resources. We will post these resources as part of the presentation within about 24 to 48 hours. It takes us to post the material. So I will make sure that if you are a member of Vitality Society, and make sure to sign up for that, you'll be able to click on the link and be able to see that. All right, so let's see if anybody has any questions. Let's see.
I was just responding to Janet.
Oh, okay.
Glad you're here, Janet. So does anyone have any questions?
Oh, Janet, you just came on right now.
That's okay, Janet. You'll get the recording, and you can reach out.
You'll see the recording. Yes.
Sorry,
I was watching your presentation, and I just saw she posted 8:18. Okay, so welcome, Janet. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll see the recording. You'll have that as a member of Vitality Society. So take a look at your 9 a.m. messages that we send out Eastern time, and you'll be able to click through once this is packaged and posted, which, as I said, takes about 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you, Meredith.
Oh my God, no problem. Glad you came.
Thank you. I'm glad that was relaxing, Suzanne.
Yes.
Does anyone have a question?
We also have our own meditation program. So we'll have to reconvene about exploring having you come and lead us on a weekly basis, because that's something I know a lot of people who are commenting here are part of our regular meditating community. And I know we'd love to have you as part of our coaching squad.
My pleasure. And that's one more freebie I'm just going to mention. If you go on my website, you will see that there is everyone who wants one. I'm all about helping people. I hope you can feel my compassion. My goal in life is to serve and to help everyone transform, because I believe we are all powerful. I believe that everyone has the right to live the life they deserve, and I believe everyone can. I really want to emphasize that everyone has that ability. Every one of you here, thank you. So I have a free meditation. You probably got a taste of it, but I've been meditating for decades. I have been teaching mindfulness and meditation for a very, very, very long time. I taught it to 10,000 people for equity. So I'm very used to doing this. I'm very comfortable with it. So the ones of you who said you started to fall asleep, most people do fall asleep when we meditate, and that's okay. So feel free to reach out, and I will gladly send you all my free meditation. It is 16 minutes and 44 seconds, so just under 17 minutes. And I 100% guarantee you will feel relaxed, because that's the feedback I've had from everyone. So feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to send that to my friends. And
you have a question about, Juliet, if you can just answer in the complimentary get to know you 20-minute session, what is offered in that session so people know?
My pleasure. So what is offered is I usually do a little bit of a technique of visualization. I'm a big believer in using imaginary recall, and to just use your imagination to create the life you want. So typically what I do is taking you into that future imagined state for a moment so that you can see what you want. So if that future state is that thank you, Meredith, that I typically, my email is in the chat. So if that state is, let's say that, oh my gosh, I tend to get really stressed and overwhelmed, and you really want to figure out how you can handle life a little bit better, or handle those moments of overwhelmed. Again, I want to emphasize that every single human being on this planet gets stressed. I smile a lot. That is who I am. It's not fake. It's very real. But I also get stressed. So please don't think anyone is immune to stress, because we all experience that. So what I want to emphasize to all of you is that, it's really knowing that it's imagining that you can have that life beyond. So in that session, it's really about discussing what your goals are, what you want to experience, how we can work together, and really just seeing if it's a good fit, because everyone everyone has energy. So we all have energy. And if you think about it, when you walk into a room and suddenly something just doesn't feel right and you cannot put your finger on it, well, that's because maybe there's someone in there, their energy is really toxic for you. You can feel it. When you're standing on a bus or a subway or a train or in an airport, wherever it is, or maybe it's your partner in bed or whomever it is, wherever you are, and suddenly you were feeling really calm and you start getting a little tense. You're thinking, wait a second, I was just calm, and suddenly you went from 0 to 60 in 1 second. Well, you are picking up on that energy. We all have that ability. And sometimes, folks, we've all been this way too. We are the ones that walk into the room and have that negative energy. So it's really about, my goal is to teach everyone how to be an astute observer, because the better you are at observing yourself, observing how you feel in your mind, in your body, how you feel, what you're thinking, how you're feeling in your emotions. Where am I feeling this? You can then identify what is triggering you. Now, I'm going to use money as an example, because money is one of the top triggers. Again, even people who are extremely wealthy, they get triggered by it because they could never have enough. So I'm not saying everyone, but there are some people like that. And then there are people on the opposite end of the spectrum, they never have enough money. So really, that thought, those feelings are triggering. So maybe it's that suddenly you get your electric bill and it was twice as much as last month because it was a really cold month. And so you cranked up that heat. You had that heat so high that you used so much electricity that it doubled your bill. And even if you have the money, maybe for a moment you feel, you feel that in your body. You feel that. Thank you, Marvin. I really appreciate your coming. Thank you. Feel free to reach out. Hope to see you in the Facebook group. And maybe you suddenly feel that in your body. And when you're feeling that, you have just gotten triggered. And so what it is the sooner you observe what triggers you, and when it happens, that's the sooner that you can take your power back. Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, it is whoa, because it is really, really powerful what we can do. It is extraordinarily powerful. So that to me, if we never speak again, and again, I hope to see you all, or you at least reach out for the free stuff that I'm offering, because I really want to help you. Please, please take away that observation is in my mind the most important skill we can develop. That's it right there. And then it's not just observing, it's observing as close to the moment. And I got to be honest with you, this takes practice, and it's constant practice. It is one of those skills that you never master 100%. And what I mean by that is that healing is a journey. And I'm sorry, I don't understand, Suzanne. That was supposed to be wonderful. Sorry. Can you ask again? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm more than happy to answer that.
Oh, she was writing at the top, whoa. And she said, no, that was supposed to be wonderful.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Susan. Thank you for explaining, Meredith. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
So when we observe, I'm sorry, let me take a step back. Healing is a journey. This is really important. Healing is a journey, not a destination. I really want to emphasize that. It's a process, an ongoing process throughout our lives. It is not an endpoint. No one is ever completely 100% healed. Now, before you get anxious by that comment or uncomfortable with that comment, let me explain what I mean. You can be healed from something. Let's say you typically get anxious. You can calm yourself. You can learn how to self-soothe, self-regulate. But then there's something else, because I believe that life is replete with many lessons. And as human beings, there are many layers to us. So think of an onion. So as we learn one lesson, as we heal one part of ourselves, there's something underneath. So we want to keep peeling and peeling and peeling away. And to me, that's the beauty of life. Now, it doesn't mean all of these lessons are beautiful. And there are two ways to look at a lesson. There are two things. When we see something that is positive, we look at that as a blessing. You don't need to be religious. I don't mean that in a religious way. If you're uncomfortable with religion at all, I really don't mean that. It's just a blessing, a good thing we look at. Look at the nature of the word. It's a blessing. But then the negative things we look at as it's really a lesson. Now, it may be a painful lesson, but it is a lesson. And what's really beautiful is when you transform that lesson, that negative experience, into a blessing, because that's really the goal, transforming the lessons into a blessing. That is the goal. So remember thank you. It's really important. Healing, I use the term healing, it's a gerund. It's an action, it's ongoing, it's not stopping. You don't stop your healing. It doesn't stop. You're never healed, you're healing. Again, you heal things, you heal feelings, you heal situations, you heal memories, but yourself, it's healing. Okay.
I love that. I just want to make a quick point, because you had mentioned about wealth not necessarily being correlated to peace or happiness. And, this is an important point, and it was recently documented and promoted again. But the Harvard study of adult development is an 85-year and running longitudinal study of over 720 participants, and now spouses and children. And they set out to discover what makes people happy in life. And the lessons aren't about wealth or fame or working harder and harder. And actually, interestingly, someone recently said it's not even about health or wealth. It's about good relationships keep us happier and healthier. And so I think about what the work we do here, Juliet, right? We put community front and center. Yeah. I think healing individually is an opportunity, but in the community where connections and relationships and friendships are fostered, it amplifies the effect of what your impact on your life could be. So healing within is critical and vital. And we do a lot of that here. And as I said, I hope you'll come back and lead us in a meditation, which is where we explore that head on week after week. But we also, the connection in the community is even a higher order of happiness, peacefulness, above and beyond that. So stay connected to us as you're doing what Juliet is saying inside work. Make sure the outside that surrounds you is part of this framework of happiness that I believe at 85 years, we got to believe there's some validity to that.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
having just come back from my Harvard friends for a baby shower of my friend who's having her first baby at 50, surrounded by the friends that I met at Harvard and have known for over two decades of my life, more than half my lifespan. It's truly remarkable, the warmth that you feel when you are surrounded by the company of others. Even if you haven't finished the work of your own healing, it's beautiful and another form of healing to be around community and have those connections.
Absolutely. And there were two really great points. Well, first, to your point, community is very important, but I also want to emphasize that there are times when we need help regulating. We need co-regulation. We need someone else to help us regulate. We need someone else to soothe us. And so the reason I love havening so much, that's just one of the techniques that I use, but I absolutely love it, is that we, again, in your magical hands and your magical fingers, you are actually healing yourself. And what's so beautiful about this is scientifically, it's an evidence-based, by the way, it's an evidence-based technique. And what's so powerful about it is if you think of a neonatal, so a newborn, there have been, I've seen these extraordinary videos of these babies that they just clean them off. They're just, I think there was one that I saw that was 4 hours old. So these tiny, tiny, tiny little newborns. And there is a nurse, and the nurse is stroking its face. I mean, it just literally made me cry. It was so heartwarming. And every time the nurse stroked the face, I remember she was doing this, it would smile. The baby would smile. It was the most heartwarming thing. But then she would stop, the nurse would stop, and the baby would stop smiling. The baby didn't cry, the baby would stop smiling. And there are so many studies and so much video evidence of this. It is so powerful. If you think, we've all done this from time to time, when, let's say you're with a friend and your friend is really stressed or not feeling well, and you just take your hand and you rub their back, you are helping them. So it's really powerful what we can do. It is so powerful. Also, sometimes when you have a stomach ache and you start rubbing your stomach, you're actually healing yourself. You're giving instructions to your stomach to just regulate your system, to calm yourself down. So really, we are extraordinarily powerful. And again, I don't want to go too much into the medical because I am not a doctor. I'm not licensed in that way. So that's Harriet. That is not me. But those things, and I'm sure Harriet can back that up, those, or corroborate this, that those things are definitely true. So that's really important to know, that you have the power to do that. Again, you always have your hands, but it's really important. Community is really important. When you're having a moment, because again, we all have these moments, reach out. It's okay. Ask for help. Call someone, cry to someone, whatever you need. Meditate, listen to music. There's so many different ways that we can help ourselves. And thank you, Beverly. And there's so many different ways that we can help ourselves. And in this 31-day challenge, if anyone chooses to join, you'll learn some of the techniques. But know that you have the power to do that, because it's not always possible to reach out. And frankly, we need to empower ourselves. And the reason I did that praise exercise is I wanted to show you that your praise, your words, trust me, they mean way more to you than anyone else's words. I can tell you you're beautiful, but you have to feel beautiful. And in order for you to feel beautiful, you need to believe that. And in order for you to believe that, the more you tell yourself you're beautiful, the more I tell myself that those dimples on my tush, those are cute. I may not always believe it, but more of the time I'm going to believe it, and I'm going to laugh and I'm going to smile. When I did this to you, maybe some people would be self-conscious. I'm not. I don't care. I think it's funny. I think it's funny when I wave and you see a little jiggle. I really don't care. I think it's funny. Some other people are tormented by that. But in me doing this, maybe I'm helping someone else and I'm modeling behavior and showing that other person that it's okay to have that. So it's really all about the words you give to yourself and the meaning you attach to everything else, and knowing that you're part of a community. And there's one other thing. I think it was Janet. Forgive me if it wasn't you, Janet, because there are some more comments in there. Janet earlier said that you heal relationships 100%. You're 100% right. So it's not just about us healing ourselves. It's about healing a relationship, because we've all had situations where we harbor bad feelings. Let's say it's our partner, or it's a friend, or whoever it is, it's a boss, whatever it is, if you're still working, or whoever that person is. And we harbor bad thoughts about them. But when you don't forgive that person, you're keeping those feelings inside. So really, in healing that relationship, in whatever format that is, and in whatever way you choose to heal it, you're actually healing yourself too. Because when you are upset with someone, who feels it? You do. You're feeling it. When you're angry, if you're angry at someone, they are, okay, we're going to finish in 1 second, Meredith. When you're angry at someone, you are becoming the protagonist in someone else's story. But that's not really a hero, because you're antagonizing yourself. So that was really just the 2 final points. Become an astute observer and keep practicing so that you are able to notice and observe your feelings in your mind and body in the moment. That one, and remember, it's a journey, not a process. And I hope you reach out.
I love that. Juliet, thank you so much. I know we stayed over, and
yes,
for all
thank
of
you everyone for
stayed with
staying.
us. We had our first hour and 40-minute session, so I think we could have made this many more hours. So we look forward, Juliet, to having you back. I want to say on behalf of everybody here and those that had to leave, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insight and your energy. I know there'll be lots of hearts coming your way. Hopefully, people will reach out. The message again, the email is in the chat, but also will be included tomorrow in the email to our members, so you'll see it again. And we will also, as I had said, put the recording up. We're still working on Harriet's because I'm trying to retrieve it from my computer. So Harriet, I haven't given up. I just need help, technical help. And I have to go to my husband for that. And every time I ask him, he's just about to go to sleep. So I'm going to ask him right now before the night comes to an end.
Can I just mention one thing in case people, just one more second, because Harriet has a great, and again, she's the medical person, not me. So Harriet, I love what you wrote. If you don't mind, if I just read it really quickly to everyone, oops.
Sure.
Thank you. Oh, actually, why don't you say it really, well, I'll just say it. Just healing modalities include magnetic waves brought about by hands held above the area of pain or discomfort. So there's research on therapeutic touch is more than 40 years old. And again, that's coming from someone in the medical community. So
nursing uses it all.
I do that all the time. Harriet, I do that all the time. I do the 8s. We learned that at the beginning of Vitality Society. We had a healer on who does Reiki, and I do it all the time to myself, to the dog, to my daughter. And I call it the 8 figuration, the healing helix. And you do it in every which way. Some of you might have been in that class. So you go up and down, side to side, out in front, and it's powerful. Like Cody didn't want to eat, and then all of a sudden, like an hour later, he ate. So it is for dogs and humans alike. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
I would love to speak to you privately, not right now, but I'd love to reach out. So if we can, Meredith, if you can hook us up.
I will do that. I will do that. All right. So good evening, everybody. Juliet, thank you so much. So happy everybody was able to join us and stay on with us. And if you, again, are new to us, I see a few names that I don't know. We'd love for you to participate and benefit from what we offer. And I'll go ahead and put that back in the chat if you needed to see that again.
And I hope to see you on the day when I do the meditation. Sorry to interrupt, but I love.
So we have to put that on the calendar. I'll reach out to you tomorrow to figure out when we could do that. Perfect. All right, everybody, have a good night. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Julia. Good night,
Thank
everybody.
Have a lovely evening.